The forgotten planet. In the distant reaches of the Orion Arm, countless civilizations thrived. Ancient empires ruled vast star systems with cold efficiency, confident that no new species could ever threaten their dominion. The Tharkin, serpentine strategists, the Zalari, masters of psionic warfare, and the Kreth, beings of immense size and intellect, regarded the galaxy as theirs to command. Among them, a small, blue planet spun unnoticed, Earth. To the galaxy, humanity was insignificant, short-lived, fragile, and primitive. Life on Earth was chaotic and unpredictable, governed by instinct, curiosity, and stubborn survival. Humans had yet to master the stars, but they possessed something alien species could not quantify: adaptability. The first contact changed everything. A Tharkin delegation arrived, confident in their superiority, intent on observing and cataloging this minor species. Their sleek, precise ship descended, expecting compliance. What they encountered instead was chaos. Humans, armed only with rudimentary tools, sabotaged alien systems with fire, electricity, and ingenuity. Engines overheated. Weapons failed. The delegation barely escaped with their lives. High Chancellor Vey of the Tharkin watched in disbelief. "They react unpredictably," he whispered. "No logic guides them." Indeed, humans did not follow patterns. Fear and creativity drove them. Where the aliens expected obedience, they found courage. Where they anticipated retreat, they faced improvisation. Humanity's response was instinctive yet astonishingly effective. The incident was dismissed in alien councils as an anomaly, yet the first seed of respect and fear was planted. Humans themselves barely understood the significance. Scientists studied the captured technology. Soldiers recounted their improbable survival. Politicians began funding space exploration, sensing opportunity. Humanity's ambition, previously constrained to Earth, had awakened. Within a century, humans launched their first interstellar fleet. Crude engines, basic weapons, and simple designs belied their true power: unpredictability. The galaxy did not notice. Humans did not wait for permission. They simply reached for the stars. The first major test came at the edge of the Proxima Sector, under Zalari control. Humans claimed a barren planet. Zalari warships arrived to enforce dominion. Outnumbered 5-1, humans engaged in unconventional tactics. Decoys, unexpected maneuvers, and exploitation of environmental hazards turned the battle. Zalari forces, disciplined and ancient, were confounded. By the end, their flagship was crippled, their forces in retreat. The galaxy began to take note. Humans were dangerous. They were resilient, inventive, and unbound by predictability. No alien intelligence could fully anticipate them. Humanity, still unaware of its potential, had survived by instinct, creativity, and determination. As Earth looked to the stars, humans felt no fear, only curiosity and resolve. They had no legacy to guide them, only the will to survive, adapt, and explore. Somewhere in the holes of alien empires, fear quietly stayed. The galaxy had underestimated humanity. It was a mistake that would soon prove catastrophic. Fire of humanity. The galaxy had begun to whisper about the humans. A species once dismissed as primitive had survived its first encounter with the Tharkin and repelled the Zalari fleet at Proxima. But whispers quickly became concern. The alien empires, unaccustomed to defeat, could not comprehend how such a fragile species had outmaneuvered their most advanced forces. On Earth, humanity did not celebrate victories in the abstract. For them, survival and opportunity were inseparable. Scientists, engineers, and explorers worked feverishly to understand alien technology, reverse-engineer their weapons, and adapt strategies alien minds could not anticipate. In a few decades, humanity had transformed from a fledgling interstellar species into a cunning, unpredictable power. The next challenge emerged from the Kreth hegemony, a race of titanic, methodical beings who controlled a dozen star systems. They sought to expand, viewing humans as a minor irritant to eliminate. Kreth warships, vast and formidable, moved toward human-colonized sectors. They expected an easy conquest. Human fleets, though smaller and technologically inferior in raw firepower, used unpredictability as their greatest weapon. Commander Amina Rai, leading the Terran Armada, devised tactics no alien mind had ever considered. She divided her forces into multiple groups, each simulating retreat while secretly maneuvering into advantageous positions. Humans leveraged asteroid fields, solar storms, and gravitational anomalies. Every environmental hazard became a tool. When the Kreth fleet engaged, they were unprepared. Mines hidden in asteroid belts detonated in unexpected sequences. Human ships, weaving through solar flares, fired weapons at angles alien sensors could not calculate. Chaos became their ally. For every ship the Kreth destroyed, another human vessel emerged in an unanticipated sector, striking with precision and adaptability. Admiral Volkev, observing the battle, struggled to comprehend. They improvised with purpose. How is this possible? His advisors could not answer. The Kreth, disciplined and experienced, were undone by creativity, daring, and unpredictability, humanity's defining traits. The battle ended with the Kreth retreating, their fleet shattered. Human casualties were heavy, yet their victory was decisive. Humanity had proven that conventional strength meant little against ingenuity and courage. Back on Earth, celebrations were muted. Engineers repaired damaged ships. Strategists analyzed new tactics. Humanity did not merely fight to win. They fought to learn, to adapt, and to ensure the next challenge would find them even stronger. The galaxy, however, could not ignore them any longer. Alien empires began to understand a terrifying truth. Humans were not like any other species they had encountered. The human victory sent shockwaves across interstellar councils. Scholars debated their origin, philosophers pondered their unpredictability, and rulers considered alliances or preemptive strikes. Yet, humans themselves were unaware of the storm they had unleashed. For them, this was survival, curiosity, and exploration. Their instinct had guided them, and their ingenuity had secured them a reputation no one had anticipated. As humans rebuilt their fleets and studied alien strategies, they realized a deeper truth. Survival was only the beginning. The galaxy could not define them, control them, or predict them. Humanity's rise had begun, and with each victory, they carved a path toward an empire no alien could defeat. Rise of the unbeatable. By the time humanity reached the far edges of the Vayner cluster, the galaxy could no longer dismiss them. The humans had transformed from a scrappy, unpredictable species into a force that defied logic. Their colonies multiplied, their fleets expanded, and their strategies became legends whispered even in the grand halls of the oldest empires. What set humans apart was not their technology alone, but the way they used it. While alien civilizations relied on millennia of precedent, humans innovated under pressure. Engineers adapted weapons mid-battle. Commanders improvised strategies to exploit every weakness. Colonists on frontier planets turned barren worlds into fortified hubs capable of producing resources, ships, and troops faster than any alien logistician anticipated. The Zalari attempted a decisive strike, sending a fleet to crush a human colony on Gliese 421c. The humans, forewarned by scouts, had anticipated not only the fleet's trajectory but its timing, formation, and attack patterns. They built orbital defenses that exploited the planet's unstable magnetic fields. When the Zalari arrived, human forces fired from positions no one expected, and gravitational anomalies amplified every strike. By the battle's end, the human colony stood intact, while the Zalari fleet was forced into retreat, battered and demoralized. But it was not just warfare that propelled humans forward. It was diplomacy, ingenuity, and adaptability. Humans formed alliances with species long oppressed by galactic empires. They shared technology selectively, combining resources to build mutual strength. Alien races, impressed or fearful, began to recognize that humans were not merely another species. They were a phenomenon. On the strategic level, humans began developing technologies that seemed impossible to other races. Faster-than-light communication networks that bypassed conventional channels, adaptive AI that could learn in real time, and self-repairing starships capable of surviving near-catastrophic damage. These innovations did not emerge from a single mind or a single lab. They emerged from the human tendency to experiment, to challenge assumptions, and to refuse limits imposed by fear or tradition. Even the Kreth, once confident in their superiority, found themselves forced into defensive postures. They anticipate everything, Admiral Volkev growled as he watched report from the front lines. And yet, they surprise us anyway. No alien tactics could fully predict human response. No strategy could fully contain their adaptability. The human empire was not yet formalized, but it was unmistakable. Systems once contested were now firmly under human control. Trade, colonization, and research networks spanned dozens of sectors. Each victory inspired the next, each innovation multiplied their power. Other civilizations watched in awe, dread, or envy, realizing that a new galactic order was emerging, one built not on age, tradition, or raw power, but on creativity, resilience, and human will. For humanity, the rise was natural. They explored, learned, and survived because it was in their nature to do so. But across the galaxy, the effect was profound. Empires that had never doubted their dominance now whispered warnings to one another. The humans were coming, and no one, not the Tharkin, Zalari, or Kreth, could predict where they would strike next or what extraordinary tactic they might deploy. And so, humanity's legend grew, a species the galaxy had overlooked, underestimated, and now feared. The rise of the unbeatable had begun. Empire Eternal. By the time humanity formally declared the Terran Empire, the galaxy had already felt its influence. Systems once ruled by the Tharkin, Zalari, and Kreth now looked to human colonies as centers of innovation, strength, and unyielding determination. Humanity had not merely survived, it had reshaped the balance of power. The Empire's foundation was unique. Unlike alien civilizations bound by hierarchy, ritual, or rigid tradition, humans thrived on diversity. Scientists, soldiers, and diplomats worked side by side. Cultural differences were celebrated, not suppressed. Ideas flowed freely across planets, allowing innovation to emerge at an unprecedented pace. Human ships became living laboratories, colonies became hubs of invention, and military tactics evolved as rapidly as technology itself. The galaxy's empires, once invincible, struggled to respond. The Zalari attempted diplomacy, offering alliances under strict terms, but humans negotiated on their own terms. The Kreth hegemony sent envoys to gauge strength, only to be met with a blend of respect, firmness, and subtle warning. Humanity would not be controlled. Even the Tharkin, who had first underestimated humanity centuries before, now watched cautiously, understanding that any attempt at domination would be met with unforeseen consequences. Humanity's power was not built on fear alone. Trade networks spanned thousands of systems, scientific collaboration flourished, and colonies thrived in previously uninhabitable regions. Humans had discovered ways to harness stellar energy, to manipulate gravitational fields, and to build starships that repaired themselves mid-battle. Their fleets, though smaller than some ancient armadas, moved with precision, adaptability, and the unpredictability that alien adversaries could never anticipate. Wars were fought, but rarely for mere conquest. Humans understood that survival required balance. They expanded strategically, secured key resources, and ensured that every action strengthened the empire without triggering total war. Where aliens saw chaos, humans saw opportunity. Where they saw risk, humans saw potential. Their ingenuity was limitless because it was fueled by necessity, ambition, and a relentless drive to overcome challenges no one else could. As humanity's influence spread, legends began to circulate across the stars. Alien races spoke of the Terran Empire with a mixture of awe and fear. Children learned that humans who had survived impossible odds, adapted faster than any machine, and built civilizations in the harshest conditions. Scholars debated how a species so young could rise so rapidly, while rulers reconsidered their strategies, realizing that no brute force could predict or defeat humans. On Earth, the people themselves hardly noticed the legends. They explored new worlds, learned alien sciences, and faced challenges with the same curiosity and resilience that had defined them from the beginning. Victory was never celebrated as an end. It was merely a step toward the next discovery, the next frontier. And so, the Terran Empire endured, not because it was invincible, but because it was human, unpredictable, adaptive, inventive, and united in diversity. Humanity became a force no alien could defeat. Across the galaxy, civilizations acknowledged a singular truth. Humans were not to be conquered, controlled, or underestimated. They were inevitable. The stars themselves seemed to bend to this new order. Humanity had arrived, not as a footnote in galactic history, but as a defining chapter. The empire no alien could defeat had risen, and its legacy would echo for millennia to come.